back on Build Phase TV. Oh, we weren't very synchronized on that one.
But let's retry. Put the cover back on and everything.
Okay, here we go. Bam. And we're back on Build Phase TV. And today we are going to talk about Dice Throne, and we're going to talk about Marvel Dice Throne, and we are going to talk about
Scarlet,
the final hero.
Scarlet Witch.
So for anybody who hasn't been following the Dice Throne Kickstarter, the Marvel Dice Throne Kickstarter, the campaign has officially ended, but even if you missed the campaign, you can click on over here and you can still late back this extremely exciting project. Okay, but today we are not going to talk about late backers. In fact, I'm going to X that out so I don't click on it by accident later. Today we are going to talk about Scarlet Witch. Now, before we look at this character's board, both Whitman and I, at the end of every one of these reviews, I've said, hey man, is this going to be the character you want? I'm going to move the mic slightly. Is this going to be the character you want to play first? And the answer every single time up until now has been no, which clearly tips our hand that we both think we're going to play the same character first. Not sure how that's going to work next year.
We're going to print another version, and I'm going to give you the crappy version, so I get to play the real board.
I'm going to tell a little story here. In between my time with old verses and before I got into new verses, for a while there, I played HeroClix. And HeroClix is very much a dice-driven game, and it is the game from which I developed the venom in my hatred of the randomness of dice. I don't know what it is about dice, but I can have a bad draw in my deck of cards, and it doesn't infuriate me the way playing Risk, or I have the perfect strategy in HeroClix, and the dice just don't want to cooperate. So when we initially were introduced to Dice Throne, my first response was, I have no interest in playing this game. I don't like dice games. But I love my friends, so they told me it was good. I thought I'd try it out and tell them all the ways they were wrong. And ultimately, I was wrong, and this game is a fantastic game that does have some randomness of dice. I can't sit here and pretend I've never gotten mad at the dice.
I certainly have had a few fits being like, oh my gosh. There was one game in specific where he was playing Shadow Thief. No, I was playing Shadow Thief, and I only did 8 damage for more than 20 turns. The game went on for 20 turns, a full hour, and I did 8 damage. So I scratched about 19% of
in HeroClix,
19 times.
There was a power called probability control, which if you had a character that had this power, you could re-roll a die. So it was a crucial, important, it was a power that I prioritized above almost anything else that could happen in HeroClix. And Scarlet Witch, the Scarlet Witch I grew up with, now I know it's a little different with the MCU, but what she controlled was chaos. She controlled probability. So I think Scarlet Witch is going to give us things to both mess with the probabilities of an opponent's dice roll, as well as fix more dice fixing cards than the typical hero kit gets, and that is why I think I am the most excited to play Scarlet Witch. All right, I realize that was long-winded. Why are you excited to play Scarlet Witch?
Because there aren't enough female heroes in the MCU and DC. There just aren't enough female heroes, and most of the time, they always end up being great and amazing.
It's an even split here, right? In Marvel Dice Throne, it's what's the whole list? Is it an even split?
No.
So we have 1, 2, 3 women,
and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think.
Yeah. And Loki sometimes is a woman, I guess. So okay, so it's not an even split. That's fair.
Sorry about the coffee in my throat's been not cooperating really recently, but I wanted to get this done.
All right. Well, do you need a minute?
Or nah.
All right,
I'm not going to spend a whole minute on the video just going...
Okay, so you're excited for Scarlet Witch because...
There aren't enough female heroes.
You like strong female characters? Okay.
And also, even if they aren't strong, I like the way that it's just their characters are always the coolest. Male characters are kind of just... Their whole thing is that they're strong.
Well, I mean, it depends on the character. Come on now.
But I mean,
There have been... I think the criticism should be there has been a huge variety of different male characters over the years, And female characters have been very narrowly defined and only allowed to do a few specific things. So having a wider variety of different, diverse characters, not just gender, in all the other ways that human beings are diverse, I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
But I think we can say all of that and not go, ugh, male characters are boring, right?
I mean, my favorite characters are Ghost Rider. And,
yeah, my favorite character is Batman.
And
so.
Nightcrawler. And specifically, Taskmaster.
The superhero with whose superpower is parent issues. That's my favorite. Okay, so let's get back on track here. So this is the compat point dial. I think this is one of the best ones. I like that it shows Wanda doing her chaos magic stuff. You get a good look at the character. It doesn't look busy. It's not too cluttered, but it's not empty. And she looks like she's doing stuff instead of just sitting there.
Can I just say the reason I put the mouse right there on their fingernails? They look like they have claws in that. They have such long fingers.
She does have some claw-adjacent fingernails. What do you think of this artwork?
I like it.
All right.
Except for the fact that she has werewolf claws, essentially.
How about this one?
Oh, I like that.
I have basically the same analysis here. I think it shows the character. She's doing her magic. Now, admittedly, Scarlet Witch is an easier character to like show doing her thing without it having to be like a big dynamic scene. She can kind of just hold her hand there. So the scales may be tipped in favor of making her look cool doing her signature thing in a way that other characters maybe can't do. But these are both, I like these a lot.
All she has to do is this, and then she has chaos magic there in a comic panel, and she looks amazing.
Aggressive. Okay, so her first power, probability manipulation. So what did I say? Yes. I wanted to see going into this. Probability manipulation. Here we have it as the first power.
You are allowed to read this one because I'm more excited.
Here, I'm going to turn our gain down just a little bit because I think we're being loud.
Because I'm being really loud.
Really loud.
Yeah, I can just see the red on our mic thingy.
So let's read this.
So, stack limit 2, it is a positive status effect because it is not non-circle. I wish it was a non-circle so it could be unique based on what its name is.
And just to remind everybody, positive status effects go on us, and because this is the standard circle, it can be removed or transferred using any cards.
Well, most of the time go on us, aside from Loki's Bag of Tricks. And, okay, tip an even number up or down on your dice.
Ooh.
Spend to change,
so it's a tip-it, but it can only target 2, 4, or 6.
Yeah.
So I love it. Like this is, admittedly, it's not as good as a tip-it. It's a much weaker. It's narrower by 50%. You have half as many places where you could use this, where you could use it a tip-it. But this doesn't take a card out of hand. And in a way, playing tip-it sort of costs you a CP. Why are you all over my mouse today, huh?
Because you got a new one and it's really nice. Oh, we forgot dice, just to see.
Oh, sure. Well,
but I want to say something here. I want most of their dice rolls to need to be odd numbers.
So we've got warp on 1 and 2.
And then we can't see anything else.
And then we can see the 3 here is a warp as well. 4 and 5 are whoa. So is she 3, 1, 1, 1? I mean, it must be, because we can tell that 1 and 2 are the same. Warp. We can see 3 here. So she's got 3. And then 4, 5, and 6 are all unique. Yeah, so her die faces are 3, 1, 1, 1. Have we seen that before?
I think. We've definitely seen that.
I mean...
I think in the past...
Shadow Thief has 2, 2, 1, 1, right?
I thought it was the Paladin. I might be wrong.
Let me put it this way: if it's on a hero already, it's a hero I don't play very much, and I'm revealing that right here.
And a hero that you're bad at.
Okay, so let's go back over here and look at our next status effect: Reality Warp. I love the art on this token. What's her flavor text? Is it no more mutants? No. Okay.
I want their ultimate to be no.
Although I guess in the modern era of what they're doing with MCU, the no more mutants thing isn't even a big, like, that's not a big part of the current Wanda character.
Can I say how I want them to bring mutants into the MCU?
Sure.
No more mutants. I want that storyline to play out in the MCU.
I do think
how
making
come
retconning the MCU to make it that Wanda said no more mutants before, like, Iron Man 1, before we got into the MCU, I think that could be a cool thing to do. So
like,
anyway,
Future Past.
But hey, we're getting off. We're getting off topic
X-Men
again.
Future Past. If you haven't watched it, it's the best X-Men movies. All the other ones suck.
Why does it gotta be like that?
Because
you can
that's
like
true.
a thing without hating on other things. Okay.
Well, X-Men 1, 2, and 3, like the ones that are numbered, are a little bit bad in my opinion.
The third one was pretty bad, but I don't want to talk about the X-Men movies. Let's get back on track here. Okay, reality warp. So this is stack limit 1. It's a negative status effect, so that goes on others.
Force your opponent to use one of your die.
If a player is inflicted with this token, when they begin their offensive roll phase, they must remove it and use one of Scarlet Witch's dice in place of one of their own until the end of the offensive roll phase.
So you just get rid of one of their dice because it's the die faces, not the die other things.
So let's break down what this means. That means any ability that the opponent has that requires a symbol that needs all 5 dice is off the table immediately. If they have abilities that only require 4 dice that need symbols, those are still on the table. They could still potentially roll those, and they could also roll their small or large straight, because obviously Scarlet Witch's dice have numbers on them. But that is it shuts down your ultimate 100%. Like you can't it's gonna hit different heroes differently. It's not going to be the same kind of disruption for every single hero.
Agreed.
But it is good.
Totally agreed.
I love it.
Here's what I wanted to point out here. A player with this token, they begin their offensive rollers. They must. You don't get to make them. They have to. So if they scratch...
You're the one playing this, so...
No, it says they have to.
Yeah, but you're the one putting the reality warp on them, so they have to do it because you made them do it.
But you don't know they're going to roll scratch.
Okay.
So you're just wasting a token if they already scratched up. And then imagine if you make them roll straight.
You're not inflicting this token during your opponent's turn. You're going to inflict this token during your turn on some of these boards, so they will have it. This is going to act the way, like, Stun's a bad example. This is going to act like Parlay does.
You're listening to me. I know that, but here's the thing I'm saying. They roll scratch, but because of how this works... Oh, wait a second. Because I guess you're right, because it's at the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, this is going to be put on them during... Yeah. So let's say I'm Scarlet Witch, right? I inflict this token on you. You're going to have an upkeep. You're going to have a main phase before you even hit your offensive roll phase.
I thought it was...
So you're going to have a chance to what status effects, bye-bye.
I thought it was Helping Hand.
What?
I thought it was like the Helping Hand card. You re-roll one of their die.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not. It's not like that.
Good.
Okay.
Good. I was just confused.
So, I guess what you were thinking is that you would spend this token as the Scarlet Witch player, during their roll phase, replace one of their dice, like, as an instant?
No.
Well, it doesn't matter, because that's not how it works.
Inflict them with it, and they declare their dice... And be like when they say, "Yeah, I'm all set on my dice," or they're out of rerolls, then they must re-roll one.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, that'd be confusing.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Thank you for showing me English.
But that's okay. I mean, we read through these and we don't always get it the first time, and that's fine. That's sort of the point of it.
I'm the one who doesn't get it, but we'll graze over that.
I've certainly gotten things wrong on these reviews.
And I'm the one who corrected you.
All right.
Okay, Conjure. I love that art.
Positive status effect.
Positive status effect. Stack limit 1.
Once per turn. Once per turn, a player with this token may spend it during their main phase to either gain a positive status effect from a chosen player's leaflet. I love that. Any opponent can prevent this by discarding a card. Whoa, that's weird interaction. Or inflict reality warp on an opponent.
I was going to say, I love the idea that we finally get a status effect that interacts with other status effects.
To be clear, this reality warp is not subject to the get out of jail free card of the previous effect. So your opponent can discard a card to prevent you from taking shadows off of the Shadow Thief. Well, not off the Shadow Thief, but off the Shadow Thief's leaflet. But they cannot discard a card to prevent you inflicting a reality warp.
Of course.
So
I understood that, and
this feels extremely strong.
I love this, and can you spend it any time? No, main phase, darn it says main phase.
Yeah, main phase.
I was hoping I could spend it like right as they think.
And finally we have Crackle. It's a positive status effect. Spend to add damage. If a player concludes their offensive roll phase, they can spend this token. So it's some kind of an attack modifier. It looks it looks like a way to give you a maximum of 3.
Wait, no, because it says excluding Crackle, so Crackle does something on itself?
Okay, well, we can see right here a maximum of 3 damage, so exactly how you get
to... Only 2 Crackles per turn.
Yeah, exactly how we get to that 3 damage, I'm not sure, but a status effect that can give you plus 3 damage. The Dryad, not technically a status effect on the Treant, but that gives plus 3 damage. That's huge. The Artificer's Bot that can give it's plus 3 damage is a pretty significant number. Depending upon what the economy is for those tokens, and could we see how many what the stack limit was? No. It says a maximum of 2, right?
Are allowed to be played.
So we'll have to assume that a stack limit of at least 2. So you got to build some up.
I'm thinking it's going to be a stack limit of 3.
As long as it's not something you have to go out of your way to do, as long as you can get those while also doing other good things, then, hey, I did an attack I wanted to do anyway, and I got one of these, and then I did it again next turn, and now I got plus 3 damage. That feels pretty good.
Here's the thing. Can we do ults first this time? Switch it up, maybe? I don't know.
Dude, I keep scrolling the wrong way because my mouse wheel thing is different than my old mouse. Okay, so we'll start here. Don't be so quick to judge witches. I think that's just a giant miss on the flavor text.
Yeah, I hate it.
That doesn't feel to me like it connects to her character in any kind of meaningful way.
It just sounds... isn't she like one of the only witches in any of Marvel other than Agatha Harkness?
I'm sure there's others, but those are the only 2 I could name right now.
I mean, certainly there are people who use magic like Doctor Doom and, what's his name?
Sure.
Strange? Doctor Strange? I bet I annoyed a lot of people by calling him what's his name.
What's the woman's name? I think it might be a male in the comics, but the ancient one.
Yeah, the ancient one.
Tilda Swinton's character.
They're female.
That's a female magic user. I don't know if the word witch is like a pejorative in the Marvel universe.
They're a sorcerer.
But the point I want to make here is the most recent time we saw Wanda, she was brain enslaving an entire city of people so she could hang out with her reanimated boyfriend's corpse. Like, don't be so quick to judge. I think we can pass some judgment on the behavior in WandaVision, even if ultimately she sacrificed all of that to like save everybody. But
she let both of her kids die.
Well, technically they didn't exist, but so this flavor text does not jive super well with the events of WandaVision, I don't think. This seems a little entitled. I don't think it really speaks to the character overall, and like why is she sticking up for like all witches? Like, is that, I don't know. Honestly, if that's the worst thing about this board, though, we're fine. We're golden. Okay, so let's move down here to see the fear. I'm going to let you read this one because you were so excited to see it.
I was more of a disappointed because I didn't see a Crackle on there. Okay, gain conjure, a probability, inflict warp, and deals 12 undefendable damage. That's pretty solid.
Before we talk about the status effect stack, 12 damage on an ultimate, that's pretty good.
Plus,
like you said. I agree.
Plus, how do you scroll on this mouse? Okay. Plus, it has a stack limit of 1, so it's essentially mess up your opponent's roll with it and help your roll.
It is weird that she doesn't also get the Crackle. You know, I feel like often with ultimates, the character, it gives you like a little, like all their status effects and some damage. Except with the Shadow Thief, then.
And also, preventing every single damage. Originally, I was like, man, the Shadow Thief's overpowered on the ult. It's 5 per CP.
Oh, one thing I think we should point out that I missed.
Is that the Marvel ones
initially
don't give you all aspects so far?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping track of that. But just talking about this character, one thing I didn't point out initially with probability manipulation, because it can only target even number dice results, you cannot use this to tip it your way into an ultimate, which is a massive, massive weakness of probability manipulation compared to just tip it.
I was going to say probability.
Like, that's a huge weakness.
I was going to say probability manipulation into a 5, then play tip it.
Okay. Sure.
You might as well play.
If you have all of the things, sure. Okay. So let's move on here. We have Hexbolt with damage. Instead of going up by 1, it goes 4, 6, 8. Given how probability manipulation works, I really like the symmetry there. I understand that manipulating even numbers with probability isn't exactly the same thing as the damage, but it makes the character feel whole to me to have it jump up that way.
Yeah.
So that
Agreed.
That does mean her 3 warp result is pretty weak. 4 damage is bad, but 8 damage is some of the best. I mean, I think 9 is the highest, right?
And that's on the Barbarian's level 2, which
So,
means that their level 2 basic's gonna have 9 there.
Yeah, so this basic attack feels
It's one of the best
strong.
basics.
Now, it's going to be strong the turns where you decide you want to do it and you go for it. As a fallback attack, which is what a lot of heroes use their basic attack as, oh, I didn't get what I wanted, but here I have all of these 1s and 3s and 2s. The fallback attack mode of Hexbolt's pretty weak because that's the 4 damage. So
You go for the basic at max, if anything. Otherwise, the 4 is not good. But I hope
I see right here, this says draw 1, so I already like this power.
The Darkhold.
So, did we see what these are called? No, we didn't see what these are called. So we're going to call them Chaos Drops. How's that sound?
I'm going to call them...
Red spooky stuff?
This might be a little immature, but little red bars.
No.
I know.
Okay, so the Chaos Drops.
It's late.
And that is the...
I was going to say...
that's the
little
5s.
red Chaos Clouds.
Yeah, okay. So the Chaos Clouds, so you're going to have to get 2 1-ofs, which is a fairly low percentage to roll.
This is like Cardtopia. I can already tell.
Yeah, it's similar to Cardicopia, which I hit all the time. So it's not impossible to roll that, but it is...
It's harder than just a basic.
I mean, it's like 15% chance to hit one specific die face, I think. Anyway, so you draw 1, you gain a CP, you gain a Crackle, and a probability manip. So all of this is good, but this is a solid support power. This feels very Cardicopia-esque, except I would say Cardicopia is probably better in that you can draw a lot more than 1 card. You know, you can draw 5 cards off of that.
Dad, you're just addicted to drawing cards.
Sure.
I think you have some bias here on the ability.
Well, but it's also a very similar role that's being asked of you here. Now, you don't have to stack a bunch of 5s to draw the extra cards like with Cardicopia, but 1 card, 1 CP, it's all good stuff, but it's all kind of weak, and it's not the easiest thing to roll. This, to me, strikes me as a backup roll. This is something you're going to settle on when you missed what you actually wanted.
Yes, but can I say another thing here? I love that it's called the Darkhold.
Yes, and I like the way she's reading the Darkhold.
I was about to bring that up, and how it's like a light from the magic of the Darkhold. Except the Darkhold's like the darkness magic.
This looks like art off of something that is like published for kids that tries to get kids to read more books. Like, be like Scarlet Witch and read. All right, so we're going to move down to Jinx.
Oh, I actually kind of love that art.
So the warp face is 50%, and each of these, I think that's the 4, that's again a 1-of. So this is not the easiest thing to roll if this is what you want. I have a little bit of a prediction here that that her board is ultimately going to give us lots of outs to... Oh, well, we can't necessarily plan for what we're going to get, but we're going to get these 1-ofs and be able to do a bunch of different stuff with them. So Jinx is 6 damage, plus you roll 2d6. You can add 2 damage, and these are on, so these don't stack. So you could add 2 damage, you could gain a probability manipulation, you could inflict a reality warp, and if you roll a 6, add 1 damage, then roll this die again. So the max damage you could get off of this is a +3 if you get a warp and then you roll a 6. So that's +1. So that's a 9 damage attack, that could also inflict some status effects.
That can also ruin your opponent's turn and use a reality manipulation to make your turn good.
I mean, how good is Reality Warp ultimately going to end up being?
Ruin your opponent's turn, Dad.
Well, but it's not going to necessarily ruin their turn. If they wanted to go for an ability that only needed 4 dice to begin with, they don't care about Wanda's dice. If they're going for straights, they don't care about Wanda's dice. It doesn't impact them.
Yeah.
So
can I just say something that's probably going to cause you? What's the thingy OCD? I think.
Just say it.
The fact if you're using champion dice and Wanda isn't.
Oh, jeez. That's high level analysis right there. The champion dice analysis. Okay, so
I don't like. I said I like the art, but now the more I'm looking at, the more I think it's creepy.
Oh, well,
just their hands like that.
She's casting a spell on you.
But it's creepy.
So Mind Blast. This is one of every dice face, and again, as long as we're going through this, I'm just going to keep repeating. Each one of these is a one-of,
except for the one.
So this is going to be a tough thing. Like, if this is the power you want, good luck.
I think that the idea of this is you rolled for something else and then just got the Shadow Thief.
So first of all, you gain a Crackle, okay?
Then you do 5 pure damage.
5 pure damage.
And roll 1.
So hold on, pure damage can't be manipulated, like it can't be increased. So it's locked at 5. Now we can continue.
We all know that.
Well, not everybody knows.
We know that. I guess I forgot to do the rules analysis. But anyway, so gain a Crackle, do 5 pure damage, roll 1. If the value is even, gain a probability manipulation. I like that. And if the value is odd, do 8 instead.
So 8 undefendable damage is inarguably good. But
pure too.
You have to roll this very demanding combination of things.
I'd rather just play the barbarians.
Then you have to roll your way through another layer of variance where...
Well, you're going to get something good either way.
Now, based on how this is, if you go into this with a probability manipulation, you can guarantee the pure damage, the 8. Because if you roll an even, you can use the probability manipulation that you already have. To turn it into an odd and guarantee the 8. So this could be a source of ending the game type potential, but it's so hard to get there. Like, that's not a reliable dice face. That's not something I'm going to be going after, I don't think.
I think that's oh shoot, I'm about to scratch, but I can do this instead.
We're going to go through both the straights here because they're both labeled as Spellcraft. The small straight 7 damage and a probability manip. The large straight is 9 damage and a reality warp. These are fine.
I like them.
These are fine. I would have liked to maybe see a Crackle as well as the reality warp on the big one.
Yes, of course.
I'm not seeing a lot of ways to gain Crackle, and it seems to me like you're going to need at least 2 of them to get the 3 damage, in which case there's not a lot of ways to get them. How useful is this token actually going to be?
I think you're going to roll with actually a Crackle, and if you roll an even, you do 1. If you roll odd, you do
this here.
2.
I don't like this art right here.
I didn't either.
I'm not a big fan of this one. So is this Agatha Harkness's eye? Because it almost doesn't look like Wanda's eye, and that's her crown. So maybe this is somebody else who's looking at Wanda and her crown is glowing.
Well, it's pure chaos.
Because it'd be weird that her crown would glow in her own eye. I'm not sure I know what's going on here with this pure chaos one.
Also, it looks very, very white, and their face is more tan.
But again, I just spent the entire rest of this video going on and on about how every single piece of art I look at is an absolute home run and gorgeous. So
and now we hate this one. We absolutely hate it.
No, I didn't say that. Stop.
I'm just joking.
No, that's way extreme.
I know. It's still good art, but it's not the best.
I feel like I can't even give an honest critique now because you're taking it to such an extreme place.
I'm just joking around.
So this is not my favorite art on the board, but let's look at the power.
It's late for me.
So this is 4 6s, which is the mini ult. You gain a conjure, you inflict a reality warp, and 6 undefendable. Now this isn't pure, so you could modify this. As far as mini ults go, that feels pretty anemic. What do you think?
Meh. I don't like it that much. Wait,
I mean, the status effects are
I forgot what if Conjure gives you the reality warp or Crackle. It's a reality warp, okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping to give you a Crackle and I was remembering it wrong.
And you can only get one reality warp. So this inflicting a reality warp and a Conjure, if you want to use this Conjure, you're going for the positive status effect. Mode. Man, that's tough to read. Not a big fan of this damage, though. That feels pretty weak,
That's
honestly.
why I was hoping I was remembering wrong. It was going to be a different Crackle, so you could add damage. Use it as an attack modifier.
But then again, I might be discounting how impactful Reality Warp is, having not had to actually deal with it yet.
Of course.
This is a crazy... You might as well call this a micro-ult, because that's really what's happening here. You've got your 50%
I saw
face
that. I was like, oh,
and a micro-ult for 9 damage and a Conjure. Now, that's a good power with some bomb art, too, by the way.
Oh, I love that, but is she just straight killing somebody in that?
This feels weird to me that a micro-ult produces 9 damage and a mini-ult produces 6. Now, I get undefendable damage is usually lower amounts, so...
Unless you're playing the Barbarian.
I like this power. I like Bewitch.
Is she just straight up murdering somebody in that?
Nah, she's doing something chaotic to him. All right, double trouble, so you get to roll all 5 dice on defense. I like that right away. I like rolling all my dice on defense.
Wait, does that mean they're not going to have a level up?
Unfortunately, in order to do anything, you have to get doubles.
So the 5th dice does nothing.
You can get double... I can't remember what it's called. Double warp.
You know what I
to get a Crackle. Hang on, let me read all these. Double Starburst to get a probability manipulation, double Chaos Drop for a Conjure, and double 6s to deal 4 damage. None of these stop any damage coming your way, which means it's not a very defensive defense. Probably, I predict most of the time you're going to get a Crackle and nothing else.
The thing I'm thinking about is their level 2 defense is going to reduce all those to needing 1 die.
Maybe.
And then their level 3 defense is going to cost 3 CP, and it's going to make them times.
I kind of hope that one of the level up versions of this adds a little something to soak some damage. Because I'm looking at this board.
And being like, oh man, this person's going to get beat up.
and there are some big spiky places where the damage values get quite high, but then there's these big troughs where the damage values are quite low. And if you're not... So if you go into like a Pyromancer fight, right?
Yeah.
Pyromancer is going to outrun you, and it's not going to be close. And
of course.
I feel like even a less like full aggressive hero is still in a position where unless Scarlet Witch can hit on the damage peaks and avoid the valleys, she seems like she's in a position where she can get outrun by a lot of heroes.
Agreed. Totally agreed. But she still has some big damage output.
I apologize to the audience. I will learn how to use this mouse, and it will be less crazy the next time we do a review. Okay, Snap Crackle.
We need some mouse lessons.
Yeah, this mouse wheel sensitivity. And anyway, Snap Crackle. If there is not a pop card in this hero deck, we are gonna have problems. You cannot give me Snap Crackle and not have a pop.
We will track you down if you don't have a pop. Would it be pop?
So this is cheap. I like 1 CP effects. You roll a d6, and you can gain 1 Crackle, 2 Crackle, or 2 Crackle and a CP. Probably that's worth playing. That, again, not totally knowing how Crackle works, but the idea that you stack up a couple of them. So if you play this, you pay 1 CP, and you roll a 3 or a 4, you can change 2 Crackle in for 3 damage. So essentially, you're paying 1 CP for 3 damage. Yeah, dude, I'll take that deal all day long.
Of course.
Now, there's a chance of again, the valley of a 1 or a 2, and you only get 1.
But that's still good.
But change the value of one of your... Dude, she has her own signature probability manipulation cards.
Yes!
Oh, I'm so excited for this hero. So,
yes!
Here's the potentially upsetting thing about her. What I was excited about was, hey, here's a character who's going to let me grab a hold of probability, grab a hold of the chaos of Dice Throne, and hammer it into my strategy. And what they've given me is a character who, yes, can do that, but everything on her board is so up and down, so chaotic, that I think she's going to end up having to try a little harder. She's going to need more probability and manipulation just to keep her head above water, as opposed to her probability and manipulation being a source of great strength.
To make them above the clouds.
That's kind of what I think I might be seeing with this board. That is not a negative critique, just so we're clear. Just because it's not exactly what I wanted doesn't mean it's bad. I'm sorry.
I want to say they did a good job on the flavor, based on even your description.
Yes.
It's a chaotic board. They're the witch who controls chaos.
This feels like, to me, like it's going to be climbing onto a surfboard. And the waves are going to take you where they take you. And you're either along for the ride and you make it back to shore safely, or you wipe out. But either way, it looks like a fun ride. I don't know. So what are your final thoughts with Scarlet Witch? I've been talking a lot this time.
I'm a little less excited now that we reviewed them.
Oh, really? So I guess let me ask you this question. Is this still the character you want to play first once we open the box?
I'll play it before you, at least. Just to spite you all.
Okay, but answer the question from is there another character, now that we've looked at the mechanics?
I kind of want to play Loki a little more now, but I think that
Loki's up there.
They're still the person I'm going to play first.
So, for me, I think Loki, Scarlet Witch, and Doctor Strange are the three that I'm hands down most excited to play.
Do you just like sorcerers?
I certainly like the way the team in this project has handled Marvel Universe magic users.
Yes, of course.
And to be clear,
they're good at handling everything.
This is not an area of Marvel Comics I even like that much. Like, I'm a street level hero kind of comic book reader.
I mean, we know that you.
So magic, outer space stuff is not my favorite areas, and they have successfully made me want to play the magic users more than Spider-Man.
I want to play Spider-Man Miles Morales so much.
Yeah, he looks pretty cool.
I think he may be like my fourth one to be most played guy, and then Thor at the bottom.
So, since this is our last video on these kind of early reviews of the characters, even though it's not that early anymore, what are your final thoughts? Do you have any?
Oh wait, aren't we gonna say that for the full box video?
But that's not going to be till 2022 for now, and we're also gonna get onto Tabletop Simulator and look at the characters that are on there and go through their full decks. Like, that's something we want to do as well.
And review each card very thoroughly.
But right now, based on these little bits of information that we hear, incomplete pictures of each hero, what surprised you? What did you think worked exactly how you wanted? Like, what are your kind of parting thoughts on this series of videos as we draw it to a close?
I just want to say... Oh, shoot. We dropped the mouse. I feel like maybe Thor wasn't the... Okay, I suck at using mouse.
Yeah, here. How about you just talk?
Okay, go down to Thor. I thought he was going to be... I feel like he was going to be a little more on the aggro side. I mean, he's definitely an aggro person, but I think just the way he plays is a little different, but I still like him. A lot of the guys... I
was surprised by the hammer mechanic on Thor.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That was part of what I was thinking.
I like it, but I was surprised by it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It makes him better. But, and Miles Morales, Spider-Man, I just love these characters so much.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that they included Miles Morales rather than Peter Parker.
I can't wait to play bye-bye on somebody's combo token and go, Combo Breaker! Which, if you weren't alive in the 90s, you probably don't understand the voice I just did there.
No, all I can think of is, get over here.
I think long-term, Black Widow is going to end up being my favorite hero out of the bunch. Having looked at them all now.
I would agree. I cannot wait to play Red Room.
I 100% think this is going to replace Shadow Thief as my favorite Dice Throne Adventure character.
Oh, that's saying something.
The spells look really cool with Doctor Strange.
Loki, I love Bag of Tricks.
Honestly, the only character that I'm like kind of ambivalent on is Captain Marvel.
Oh, I was going to say the only character I'm a little disappointed on is Black Panther.
Like... I wouldn't even say disappointed. It's just she does a thing that isn't my favorite thing to do in games. So I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, she's cool. Like, I don't mean this as like a general, like, these game mechanics are bad type critique. Rather, just for me as a player, her play patterns don't look to be something that super interests me, but I'm sure I'm going to play all of them at some point.
I kind of want to go back to Black Panther and review his Ultimate, because didn't we skip that last time?
I think we did, but this is supposed to be Scarlet Witch's video.
We'll just do this quick. Gain of Vibranium, 3 kinetic energy, deal 11 damage. It's okay. Now let's leave it now.
This part right here is for fans that have watched the whole series. And for people who came to Scarlet Witch's the first video, they're like, what are these dudes doing?
We accidentally skipped Black Panther.
Yes.
And he was our first hero. So, we skipped this, so I thought, oh, man.
This is a fine Ultimate.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for you people who don't know why we were doing this, but yes, we accidentally skipped the first one. But anyway, Getting back to the box, I think it's really decent. I cannot wait to play.
And I think with that, we're going to
say goodbye
to our Marvel Kickstarter hero review series. I guess I'll remind everybody one last time that if you missed out on the initial campaign, you can go right here and still late back, and obviously we're big fans of this. Appreciate everybody watching these videos. Major shout out to the team at Dice Throne for plugging our content in one of the Kickstarter updates. That was kind of mind-blowing.
He was in Arizona at the time, and we were in a Zoom call when he told me, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, we couldn't even freak out in the same room because we were separated by thousands of miles.
I kind of wish we had that on camera, because my reaction was full on, wait, what? You're telling me I'm on a Dice Throne thing? I was super excited.
That was a really cool moment.
I still can't believe that I got on there along with you, and man, that was so fun doing these reviews, and I cannot wait to do a box review in 2022. Yeah.
We might do some before 2022.
Mostly in 2022.
We'll we got Dice Throne Adventures to talk about other stuff. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up here. So the last thing we need to say
is bye always, and go win some games.